Today on Porterverse OCs, we'll be shedding some lights on an OC that has been overlooked for the last few years, as I haven't really done much with this character up until pretty recently. Our character for this episode is Rampage. Rampage is a unique goods engine, and one that is planned for pretty big themes in my series Portertunes. He's really become the breakout character in some drafts, and he has quite the unique personality. Like the rest of the series, we'll dive into the origins of the character first, and then follow that with what the characters like personality-wise, what their traits and flaws are, etc. Without further ado, let's begin. Picture this. You're the controller of a major railway in the United Kingdom, and in early 1935, one of your engines almost fucking dies. We all know how the flying kipper crash unfolded. Henry was severely damaged in the crash, and was sent off for a rebuild. Instead of crew, however, like in the railway series, in my AU, Henry would remain on Sodor and be rebuilt at Crovan's Gate Locomotive Works. Tom Hattie first, the then controller of the railway, called up his son Charles Hatt for a new blueprint. Charles was the then chief mechanical engineer for the Big City Railroad in the United States, and was renowned for his classes of large freight engines, so designing a new shape for Henry would be a cakewalk for him. Once the plans arrived, construction began. Henry was put back into service by the fall of 1935. The reason I bring this up is because Henry's rebuild design is crucial to the construction of Rampage. Shortly after Henry's new trials were completed, the works was given the order to produce a new class of goods engine to keep up with the ever-increasing demand. The new Henry design will be used as the main base. Among other tweaks like extending the general length and some other design changes, the biggest difference will be the wheel configuration. This new class using the 480 configuration, a first for the United Kingdom. Aside from that, they'll be fairly similar to Henry visually, at least on a surface level. After some troubles getting off the ground, a prototype was finally completed by late 1937. Wearing the works number 5809, Rampage, as he'll become to be known, completely changed the game for subterranean goods traffic on rails. Most of the demand was actually met in a matter of weeks thanks to the combined strength of both Henry and more so Rampage. The success of Rampage led to the approval of 4 more members of this class set to be built. All 4 were scheduled to enter service by late 1940. If you know your British history and European history in general, there is one small problem. World War II began in 1939, and shortly after, construction of new engine classes were halted all over the UK. The order for 4 more engines to design a Rampage was cancelled, effectively making the lone engine the namesake in this class of 1. All locomotives on Sodor were repainted into wartime black, and Rampage would follow in this. Despite some near-miss encounters, Rampage survived the war relatively unscathed, and was left in his wartime livery through 1947. Rampage infamously hated this, and detested it very often, that being one of the very few things that him and James saw eye to eye on. By 1957, Rampage was repainted again, this time into BR green. As he said, it was much more palatable to him. He would later be the very first in line for repaints following the post-British Railway split in the 60s. At the birth of the Preservation era, Northwestern Green returned for good old Rampage, and he was much happier wearing his original colors. This time he will receive his new Northwestern number, 36, on his tender. Aside from a few overhauls and quick repairs here and there and minimal accidents, Rampage has been in service pretty much constantly since, and he actually has one of the cleanest track records for engines on the island, and he is still in active use to this very day as one of the many goods engines on the Northwestern Railway. Rampage is one of the most respected engines on Sodor. He is fairly well articulated, and is somehow able to control the trucks with relative ease. No one really knows how, but Rampage manages them as if he's pulling air behind them. Rampage is a huge fan of thriller movies and shows. Presently, his favorite TV show is Reacher, starring Alan Ritchson. He actually read the books via audiobook when they first came out in the 90s, and has been an avid fan ever since. This man would crash out if Amazon Prime pulled the plug on the show. One of Rampage's drawbacks is whatever trick he uses to manage the trucks does not work well on coaches at all. In the few instances Rampage is assigned to a passenger train, it does not end well. Rampage has grown to prefer the trucks as a result, but he does know better than to curse out the coaches. especially when passengers are present. Among the rolling stock of the Northwestern Railway, Rampage prefers handling box vans the most, in particular the mail vans. Rampage often takes mail trains at night along the main line, while engines like Percy handle the branch lines. As a result of these late-night mail runs, Percy and Rampage have actually formed a friendship. Percy's energy has actually since rubbed onto Rampage as a result. Weirdly though, despite being fairly chummy with Percy, Rampage actually butts heads with Thomas on the very rare chances they meet. However, Rampage does have respect for Thomas, based on what Percy told him about the cheeky shithead. As for the big engines, he pretty much gained their respect to Henry right off the bat, as they're both goods engines, work within proximity to each other, and are technically close cousins when you think about it. But Gordon and James were much more hesitant to warm up to him at first. Gordon would actually see Rampage as a good friend after a string of events, while James would take much longer. Only after fully swallowing his pride around the Preservation era would he finally actually see Rampage wasn't so bad after all. Then again, Rampage had also mellowed out by that point too, so yeah. Overall, Rampage is a character that lives through his strength and energy. This can lead to some troubles at times, but he ultimately means very well. Everyone sees Rampage a little differently, but the most common thing that they see is that he has strong work ethic and good perspectives on a lot of things. Overall, a fairly well-rounded guy. In terms of general updates, if you have noticed, I have updated the background so that it has motion to it. I'd say it was about time the background had changed a little bit, as the static one was starting to age, and I was slowly growing tired of it. I hope you all like the change, as it'll be standard going forward. I also want to take this time to clarify some stuff about my OCs, given there were some instances on other platforms with people misusing my characters, so I want to make this clear. I'm not going to name the individual responsible, but just please don't use my characters or anything like that for AI, whatever the hell, AI chatbots, whatever the hell they're called. And also, please hold off on using them in stories and such until after Porterverse comes out, as I'd rather properly debut them story-wise. I know they're technically debuted now, but if you want to make R&D of the character and such, all means, go ahead. My only thing I say is to give me credits and to tag me, because I love seeing OC art. It's so cool. But yeah, that was unscripted, but yeah, just please be respectful with using my OCs. Also, if you do anything adult on my OCs, I will, Alright, back to the scripted section. I am also considering some more non-Thomas videos. One big project I've been wanting to do is to do a giant video ranking every single Pixar movie, well, once Elio comes out. I do kind of want to make it, but it'll take a very long time, as I'll have to rewatch every Pixar movie, as I haven't seen a lot of them in a while. Let me know what you all think if you want to see that. I'm open to the idea. And of course, plenty of train videos coming your way as well. Thank you all very much for watching this episode of Porterverse OCs, and I'll see you all same time next week.